Spartans, to Halo Headlines, part of Evolved, your home for Halo. In this week's recap, we will cover the top Halo headlines for the week of February 14th to February 20th. I am your host, Oren, and with me today is David.
Hey everybody. Been a while since I did one of these.
Yeah, it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I don't know what it is. There's a lot of news out there, but
what's happening?
So we have a few things to talk about, so we're gonna get started very quickly. But beforehand, I just want to give a quick shout out to all of our patrons for their continued support to making this show possible. Thank you guys so much. We're able to do all of our shows because of your support. If you're not a member or a subscriber, you can head over to patreon.com/Halo Podcast Evolve to learn more about our exclusive rewards that we offer our patrons. And if you want to check out all of our other Halo shows that are part of Evolved, head over to halopodcast.com to learn more about them. Now, we have a Halo Waypoint article that came out this last week called Halo Infinite Ranked Matchmaking Updates. 343 is pushing out a skill rating system update that should address rank tier inflation, inaccurate skill assessments, uneven player skills, and more. Due to this update, 343 will be resetting the competitive skill rankings, which is your CSR, so that everyone can get an updated SCR that is more indicative of their skill. This means that players will need to complete their 10 placement matches and receive their new rank. Most players should expect to be placed in a full tier lower after this rank reset than what they are currently in, if ranked. And they wanted to make note that this is not an error in the new system, but rather it's an error in the old system. This update will also accompany other updates that includes bug fixes, stability, anti-cheat improvements, and more that's packaged into the Season 1 mid-season update with a target release date of Tuesday, February 22nd. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it's either going to be rolled out or just rolled out. I'm excited. I'm always good for different updates to happen that makes the game better. They've talked a little bit about this online. It seems that, a lot of people were ranked platinum, just kind of right off the bat. And so platinum rank was completely overloaded with players. So they are basically retuning everything. So then more players are in gold and more skilled players remain kind of in platinum. So it kind of says that if you get ranked lower, it's not a problem with this system, it's in the old system. But what they're kind of saying is that you were kind of ranked too high. I encourage our listeners to not get too off put by that, because I've definitely talked to people within our community and some of my other personal friends that some of the matches in matchmaking get super sweaty, even if it's non-ranked. So if they're rebalancing the way players' skills are, then theoretically it should create a better experience for everybody, because you're going against players that have a better skill ceiling to you.
That makes sense.
Would you kind of echo some of that, David? Have you been just in sweaty match after sweaty match when you're just trying to play casual?
No, I have played sweet feck all of Halo multiplayer, to be honest. It just didn't grab me. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not where I'm at right now in terms of being able to play multiplayer games. And I feel like the skill level's gone up pretty high alright in Halo. And that's what I've been hearing as well, that it's pretty tough. And it never did, even from day one, have a good divide between obviously death matches were missing and stuff like that, and people weren't playing the objectives and all that kind of stuff. So it was a bit of a mismatch at launch. This is good, like you said. This is good. It gives you more even, better matches. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I remain optimistic and will definitely be doing my placement matches in the coming week to see if I can stay in Diamond, because that's where I'm currently at. So maybe I'm not a Diamond player and I'm only a Platinum player, but we'll see how that goes. David, you want to take the next article?
Absolutely, I can do that. So, EA acknowledges Battlefield 2042 failure with Town Hall post-mortem. Now, you did hear me right, guys. That's exactly what I said. EA acknowledges Battlefield, not Halo, Battlefield. And this is kind of funny. So, reportedly, EA execs spent over 20 minutes discussing what went wrong with the launch and also how the company sees the future of Battlefield 2042 and Battlefield franchise going forward. Bear with me, guys. The article goes into detail about the decisions EA and DICE made and how they can learn from those decisions. However, another reported factor that contributed to Battlefield 2042's disappointing launch was Halo Infinite. That's right, guys. We killed it. We killed Battlefield.
We are sending another franchise into the ground.
Ooh. This is ridiculous. Battlefield 2042 is a mess. Absolute out and out mess. My youngest brother Robert, he loves Battlefield games. Gets them every year, plays them, gets really excited about them. Obviously, he's raging because the game is so bad.
Yeah.
It's just not stable. So they said a bunch of other stuff as well. I'll read the rest, I suppose. This is from xfire.com. Following the game's launch, DICE rolled out its Day 1 and Day 0 patches to get the bug count down further. On this, Melee, who's probably the guy talking and giving the speech, continued to say that Battlefield 2042 launch and patches meant that the game was stable and the early critical reception was good. However, according to EA, things took a turn, and that turn was clear stroke to surprise the release of Halo Infinite multiplayer. I wish I was joking. According to Melee, the comparison between both games was not favourable because Halo Infinite was a very polished title, whereas Battlefield 2042 contained bugs and wasn't as polished. They're not wrong.
They're not wrong. Yeah, it launched... Halo Infinite was probably one of the best launched Halo games to date. In terms of stability and polish, I'd say. I mean, there definitely is an argument as to, the fact that it didn't launch with co-op campaign, didn't launch with Forge, the progression system needs some adjustments, but in terms of turning on your system and playing Halo, it's very smooth, especially in the modern gaming landscape where turning on a newly released game, that you're almost always guaranteed to have some types of issues. So the fact that those issues were very minimal does say a lot about I guess that department within 343, that sort of networking and an aspect of the game. Good job 343 for that.
Yeah, nailed it.
Sorry Battlefield, I don't know what else to say.
Sucks to be those guys.
All right, so next, Paramount Plus renews upcoming series Halo for a second season. So in a press release from Viacom CBS, renews Halo the series for a second season. And if you didn't know, Halo the series Season 1 premieres on March 24th of this year, so we're about a month out from when it's going to come out. Finally, it was announced back in 2013 at the Xbox One reveal event, and the show is finally coming out. David Weiner from the Brave New World show will join Season 2 as the showrunner and executive producer. If you haven't been following it, the showrunner from Season 1 decided to step down as the filming, everything was very demanding. He spent a lot of time overseas in Budapest, and he wanted to remain at home with his family in the US. So that's why he stepped away from Season 1. So we have a new Season 2 showrunner. See, David Nevins, the Chief Content Officer of Scripted Originals for Paramount Plus, and the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Showtime Network, said it's quite a long title.
He's a somebody, yeah.
Yeah, he's somebody. So David said, this second season pickup reflects the confidence we have in the power of this epic series to attract and engage viewers. Halo has been a great collaboration with Amblin and 343 Industries, and we are all grateful for the opportunity to continue it. And like I said, Season 1 will premiere exclusively on Paramount Plus on March 24th of this year. So that's pretty wild that the show is getting renewed off the bat, especially a Season 1 show. I mean, to get a TV show off the ground is a feat in and of itself, but to get a second season, you usually wait for at least some of the episodes to come out, so then you can kind of gauge the reception before you look at the cost versus gains of greenlighting a second season. And then from there, the writers, I'm sure, and the showrunners have a multi-season arc that they would love to explore, that they have to pitch to the distribution companies to then see how many seasons they're able to greenlight after the initial bit. So we already have a Season 2 greenlit. We'll see how many episodes, what their timeline is, but if there's already this pipeline already set up, maybe in Budapest they kept some stages and they still have sets built and costumes and stuff that they can use again for Season 2, then, that There could be a world, David, to where, like other TV shows, this could be a serial yearly occurrence. I don't want to get everyone's hopes up too much, but that's like the goal for TV shows, and that your first, whatever season you're doing, you're filming that season, and then you're editing it, you're releasing it in that same year, and then you continue the next one. Now, obviously, the bigger shows and all that, like, I don't know, Game of Thrones or Mandalorian or whatever, like, they tend to have longer production life cycles, so then it's not a yearly release, but that's always the goal if you're able to achieve it.
That's pretty dope.
We could get this season 2 as early as next year. If I had to bet, though, I would gauge probably 2024, but we don't know. We'll see what happens.
And, like, it's not a case, Oren, that a show would get renewed for season 2, but they wouldn't make it because season 2 didn't go well. Like, if it's renewed for season 2, is season 2 happening regardless?
No, I think there's always a chance for the season 2 to get pulled. Like, I guess if season 1 is just not received well by the vocal minority, as I'll call them online right now, there very well could be a situation where Showtime, or I guess Paramount Plus now, and Viacom and 343 kind of reevaluates. But I'm sure this deal has some sort of, or this like announcement has some form of like guarantees to where if there is a cancellation, like wherever the money's coming from, whoever's paying whom, they still would have to pay some of that money, because this is, presumably there's already a deal that's inked for, whatever they're doing, or they're still pinning it or something. So I guess it's not a 100% chance, but I'd still say it's very likely, with the only exception to be if like season 1 is just like no shit, like a dumpster fire. I mean, I honestly haven't seen Nightfall since it came out, but I remember just not liking Nightfall like at all. So if it's like to the level of Nightfall and worse, then I can see where it just gets canceled. Because shows get canceled all the time, and sometimes they get canceled in the middle of seasons. It's just a matter of the executives or the actors or the money. There's always a reason, and anything is possible. But I will say that the fact that Paramount Plus already wants to do a second season, they probably really forecast a lot of people tuning in and watching and getting a Paramount Plus subscription. Like, I have a Paramount Plus subscription because Halo's coming out. I got it so I could watch NFL football early, but I otherwise would have just waited until March to get it. So, they have my money for the foreseeable future. So I think they're banking on Halo bringing in Halo fans, and if they're able to keep some of them around, then it could justify another season. And that I think it kind of just boils down to that. They see that this is such a huge international property that 343 is willing to continue since they put all this work into it. That's where I sit. One other thing that happened is that with this announcement, Halo Waypoint also had an article confirming season 2. They kind of reiterate the same things, but what 343 did add was the series' availability in the global market. So I'm just going to read their thing because I know we have a lot of international listeners. David, you are an international host. So Halo will be available starting on March 24th in all markets with Paramount Plus, including the US, Latin America, Canada, and the Nordics, and Australia. Additionally, as part of a special partnership with Paramount Plus, Halo will debut on Sky in Italy and Germany, and on Canal Plus in France, as a Paramount Plus original series ahead of the Paramount Plus launch in these markets, which is slated for the second half of 2022. Halo will debut in England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and the Caribbean when Paramount Plus launches by this summer, and on Paramount Plus in South Korea during the same time frame. The series will also be available on Sky Showtime in select European regions once the service launches. I think it's very unfortunate that you, David, and all of our other listeners that are not in basically US, Latin America, Canada, and the Nordics, and Australia, that won't be able to get this show when it launches. When it premieres on the 24th. It's obviously something that 343 is looking at, since they have the statement out, they have a plan. They're going to get it to you guys as quickly as they can. But for whatever reason, with international broadcasting rights and stuff, it's just not available right now. David, I don't know if this means that you're going to, find the show online.
Pretty much.
Or if you have to wait for it.
I am absolutely not waiting for this. I mean, that's crazy talk, Oren, and you know it.
Yeah, I do. I didn't want to put you on the spot, though. I want everyone to experience this show. I'm optimistic about it. I mean, if I don't like the show, I don't like the show, and I'll tell you I don't like it. But I'm excited by what I've seen so far. I think it's perfectly acceptable for what they're doing and what they're changing. Yes, it's disappointing that it's not in the same canon universe, but I'm not gonna boycott it just for that fact. I did want to take this time to not quite reveal what we have planned for the Halo TV show, but we are launching a new show that will be separate from Podcast Evolved, from Halo Headlines, Mission Debrief. It's going to be its own show.
Oh, that's great, Oren. Because we need another show, Oren.
Yeah, we need another show. I need to count them and see what they're all at. But I think we're at like 7 shows. Because I don't want to give any other context in this, but there is another new show that we're launching that is not any of what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, didn't you know, David? We need a whole, but it's all right because you're probably going to be on 1 episode, maybe 2, of this next show. But based on how we're doing it. But I think we'll be able to reveal it on our next live show, which is scheduled for next week. But it will be a show for the Halo TV show. I will be basically hosting it with a rotating guest. And, well, that's how we're going to cover it. And stay tuned for more details. But yeah, it's going to be a wild ride. The last thing I'll say is that IGN had a fan fest this past weekend, and during that they had a small segment on the Halo TV series, and the main takeaway from that is that it has been confirmed that during the show, Master Chief, who was played by an actor, will remove his helmet.
Crazy.
He will remove his helmet and you will see his face. You will see this actor's face.
That's cool. I'm glad they're getting ahead of it.
It's okay, everybody. You don't have to lose your mind. His name is Pablo Schreiber. He's the actor. I do think it's kind of funny. I've seen some photoshopped images of Pablo Schreiber with his mustache from Orange is the New Black, photoshopped over the Chief's armor. And I do admit, it does look very silly and funny, but that's because it's a freaking Photoshop image. I don't know. I'm going to get into this on the show, probably on episode 3, but it's fine, guys. It allows the actor to do more. Yes, the actor could act while wearing the helmet. They've done it in The Mandalorian and Judge Dredd, Batman. There's a lot of examples out there, but I think it's fine. It's going to be fine. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox there before I really go down the rabbit hole. And those are our headlines, David. That's what we got.
Those are good headlines, Oren.
Thank you all for listening and joining us. Look out next week, or I guess 2 weeks from now, for our next Halo Headlines, because we have our news show next week at the end of the month. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, if you enjoyed this show and want to listen to more Halo content, please check out Evolve's website, halopodcast.com, and it features all of our episodes for all of our shows. Podcast Evolved, Mission Debrief, Builds with Blocks, Halo Book Club. It will feature the new Halo TV show once we officially announce that, as well as another show, which we're not talking about.
Oh yeah, another show. That's great, Owen.
Another show. So I guess this is the list right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this one would be 7. I guess we can't make any more, because that's the 7. We have 7 shows.
There's only 7 days in the week, Owen.
We have 5 shows right now, but we'll have 7 shows by March/April.
Ridiculous.
Also, listen to our partners, Will and Josh, over at HCS Pro Talk. So that's our secret 8th show. Once again, a special shout out to all of our patrons for their support for this show and making all of our other shows possible. Head over to patreon.com/podcastevolve to learn more. And with that, I've been your host, Oren, and until next time, evolve.
Evolve!